In this video, I'm going to be covering the guaranteed road to booking 1 to 3 plus meetings a day with your social media marketing agency. And within that, there's a few things that you actually need to do to be able to achieve this. First, you need to build an outreach system. Second, you need to track your numbers meticulously. Third, you need to reverse engineer your numbers. Fourth, you need to employ the scientific method. And then fifth, you need to choose your path. Now that's the high level overview. I'll get into the granular and specifics in a second. But if you don't already know who I am, my name's Shay Datheri and I'm the co-founder of acquisitiongrowthpartner.com. And we help establish marketing agencies at an additional $60,000 to $120,000 a month within 6 to 12 months using our AI acquisition systems. The first thing you need to do is you need to build an outreach system. And there's a few platforms you can build your outreach system with. You can use IG DMs, LinkedIn DMs, Facebook DMs, cold email, or you can build an inbound system to supplement the other outbound systems, which is content, which is like what you're watching right now. Now, content, you're not, at least in the early phases, you're not looking to sign clients with this. You're just looking at it as a mechanism to nurture your outbound efforts. So mixing in some of the content when people book a call and so forth. I've covered that in my other video. But yeah, these are some of the systems you want to start off with. And the reason you want to start with, one of these 5 options or one of these 4 options and then supplement with content is because there's pretty much a $0 startup cost. The only way that costs start coming to the picture is if you're adding in softwares just so that you have more leverage and you can automate some of the tasks, or if you're wanting to employ some team members to be able to conduct some of these methods for you. Now, ideally, you prove the system yourself first before you outsource it to your team members. Unless you have an expert on your team that's better than this stuff than you are, then you can get them involved doing this. Now, I'm not going to get into the granular details as to how you can build an outreach system. There's some other videos on this channel covering cold email and systems like that. So if you want a more detailed guide as to actually how you want to build an outreach system, go check out some of the other videos on the channel. But once you build an outreach system, you obviously need to launch that and start getting some market feedback. And once you get some market feedback, you need to track your numbers meticulously. Now, the reason you want to do that is because you don't want to make decisions based off emotion. You want to make decisions based off of the hard data, because data doesn't lie. And it's easy to get fooled when emotions are involved. So you don't want to be making decisions, and you don't want to be basing your entire business or the foundation of your business off of emotions as well, because things can get really tricky really quickly. So the metrics that you're looking to track are like outreach sent per day, positive replies, meetings booked, meetings that actually show, and close rate. And what's going to happen here is, because you can reverse engineer your numbers, when you track all of this stuff, you're going to be able to look back at the end of the month and be like, okay, we booked 3,000 or we sent 3,000 messages, 60 people responded positively to those messages, 40 meetings were booked, 30 meetings showed, and 6 new clients. And what you can do here is you can look at the full funnel from when you reach out to someone to when someone becomes a client. And you can do either 2 things. You can either ramp the volume based off of whether you're happy with the metrics that you have at hand, or you can look at small tweaks that you can make to the system. So the way you do that is like, okay, I reached out to 3,000 people and got 60 positive responses. Okay, that's fairly decent. That's like a 2% positive response rate, I think. And then also from the 60 positive responses, 40 meetings were booked. That's around 60% of positive responses being booked in. That's pretty good. Ideally, you want to be around that 50% mark. And then 30 meetings actually showed from those 40 meetings booked. Now, you could probably, depending on what your typical show up rate is, you could probably improve that just a little bit. Get that from 40 to 32, because then that would be like an 80% show up rate. Now, some of these percentage, I might be fumbling some of these percentages. I'm not the best at math, but you get the point I'm trying to make. You can ideally just look at these systems here or these numbers here and be like, okay, could probably improve the show up rate a little bit here. Could probably improve the close rate a little bit here as well. If your TAM is small, that's what you want to do. Look at small tweaks you can make by looking at the numbers. But if you have a massive TAM, you could simply just ramp the volume. Now, what would indicate whether it's good to ramp the volume? If you have a KPI of, say, 1% positive response rate and you have like a 0.9% positive response rate, you can either look at ways to make those tweaks, or you can just be like, okay, it's like 0.1% under where I want to be, but like I'm happy to just scale that. And because you could just scale that if you have a big market that you can actually address and reach out to. Now, throughout this entire process, you want to keep the scientific method at the back of your head. Because I know there are people out there, right? Say they have campaign 1 where they have as they have a certain body copy, they have a certain offer, they have a certain call to action, and they have a certain subject line. And if nothing works within that campaign 1, well, they go and change all those variables for campaign 2. And then let's say you strike luck, you strike gold, and it does really well. Well, the problem with that is because you changed 4 things, so you don't really know what works. So what you want to do is you want to employ the scientific method. You pretty much want to dictate all the different variables that are within the system, and then you want to just change. So if campaign 1 doesn't work, well, maybe in campaign 2 you change the offer, or maybe you change the pain point, or maybe you change the call to action. You only want to be changing one thing at a time, because then you actually know what is the variable that's dictating the success within the campaign. Something that's also cool is if you have a revenue level that you're trying to get to, eventually after tracking your numbers for long enough, you can reverse engineer how much outreach you need to send on a monthly basis to be able to hit that goal. But you can only get to that point if you're tracking your numbers meticulously. Now, this is the guaranteed road to booking 1 to 3 meetings a day, guys. I know it's like the high level overview. I'm not going too granular, but if you build an outreach system using some of these here, you can either use cold email and content like me, or you can use a mix of these. Ideally, you want to have like 1 outbound and 1 inbound. That's what I found works really well, and it's working well for me. Then you want to track your numbers meticulously, reverse engineer your numbers, employ the scientific method so that you can improve your system overall. And there's a few paths you can either take. You can either employ the scientific method and look at small tweaks that you can make to the system, or if you have a lot of people to target, just ramp the volume and you'll be good as gold in booking 1 to 3 meetings a day. But don't stop your outreach. Once you start signing clients and you're getting a bunch of appointments, don't get, like, if you become overwhelmed, don't turn off the outreach. Just look at where you can hire some people that you can get involved within the team, or some tasks that you can outsource, so that you can keep people coming in the door, or at least just keep the outreach going, because you don't want to turn that off. That's going to be what feeds you, your family, your team members. You never want to stop outreaching, even when it's painful. And I promise you, you'll be in a good spot to book 1 to 3 meetings per day or more. Now, if you run an established marketing agency that's doing a minimum of $25,000 per month, and you're looking to add an additional 60 to 120K per month over the next 6 to 12 months, you can click the first link that's in the description. Now, you're not obliged to at all. The main thing is that you watch these videos, you get value from it, and you actually implement some of the teachings. But hopefully you found some value in this video. I'll see you later.